Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radium Girls.
We are so excited that you guys are here to join us tonight, and the cast is pumped to put on this production.
Yes, we just have a couple requests before we start. No flash photography and silence your cell phones if you can. And there will be a 15-minute intermission after Act 1. You can buy snacks, drinks, go to the bathroom, whatever.
I'm just going to start us off with a quick word of prayer. Dear Lord, I thank you for this day. I thank you for the amazing cast that has worked so hard for this production and the audience that came to see it. I thank you for this story that we get to tell and a beautiful form of art. I pray that all nerves of the actors would go away and that they can fully enjoy this last performance. In your name, amen.
Enjoy the show. So much light, daylight, all the time, and on sunny days it even felt like you were sitting outside. It was that bright. Well, it was a factory. I thought it would be dark and dirty.
Why go work there?
I was 15. It was time I pay my own way.
Pay your own way. What about school?
I didn't miss it so much. The girls there were all so nice, and the work we were doing, it wasn't like factory work really. It was more like artwork. We were artists painting those dials.
I'm not the one you should be talking to. Von Sachaki, he's the one you should be talking to.
Now, Arthur, you know he won't speak to us.
It was his process.
Tell me about the process. You used a powder.
Yes, we used a powder. The girls, they mixed it with adhesive to make the paint. And that business with the brushes, I didn't invent that. They were doing that when I got here.
But you knew.
We all knew, we just didn't know what it meant.
Irene? In here. Irene, what are you doing?
Shut the door. Amelia's working inspection today.
Is that bad?
Not for us. Amelia's gonna be sitting in this room all day, in the dark, checking dials. Poor thing, poor thing. So we're gonna give her a little surprise. Boom! Like the Chester cat.
Oh, well, won't that make her mad?
Oh, let her get mad. That's half the fun.
I don't want to make her mad.
Oh, Grace, do you have to be that way about everything?
What way?
Here, Grace, let me put some teeth on you. Ain't like Amelia don't deserve it. She paints more dials than any girl on the floor. And can't be bothered to talk to nobody either. You say, Amelia, what's new? She just looks at you funny.
I don't think she can speak much English.
Wouldn't kill her to smile, would it? She's coming! Get the light! Where's the switch? For pity's sake, Catherine.
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Oh! Painting your faces? Have you girls gone out of your minds? It was just a joke. Just a joke? A joke like that can lose a girl her job.
No, Mrs. McNeil. I'm sure that's not necessary.
Well, you know I don't tolerate no foolishness, Doctor.
Just foolishness we don't want, do we? Mr. Reader, this is the inspection room where all the dials go that are painted, and here are some of the girls who on the floor should be working. And girls, this is Mr. Reader, new vice president and plant manager.
And I was just telling Mr. Reader here what a fine bunch of girls we have. And I'm sure now he must think I'm halfway out of my mind.
How about some words for the girls? Mr. McNeil?
Well, girls, this paint you're playing with, it's very expensive. You realize this. It takes several tons of ore to produce a single gram of radium. That's a lot of work, hard work for the men at the extraction plant. But they do this work gladly. Do you know why? Why do they work so hard? What are we all working for?
The war.
That's right, the war. The dials you paint save lives, girls. The boys depend on them in the field to read in the dark, no mistaking what they see. Otherwise, some boys won't be coming home. Now, if you're going to mess around and not take work seriously, then you're messing with the hands of the Kaiser, and we don't want that, do we?
No, sir.
All right. Then, let's get back to work and leave the tomfoolery to home.
Mr. Reader, I just wanted to say, I'm really sorry and I won't do nothing like that ever again.
Well, dear, remember this. You do right by us, and we'll do right by you.
May 17, 1921, Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphics only girl reporter.
Jackie Youngwood here with the Newark Ledger, Newark's first source of news.
Madame Marie Curie, eminent French scientist, is headed on a whistle-stop tour of the United States.
First stop, New York City, where she is greeted by an enthusiastic crowd of well-wishers.
The High Priestess of Science is headed for Washington, where she will receive a gift of 1 gram of radium valued at $100,000.
Purchased for her by the Marie Curie Radium Club, an association with over 100,000 American women.
Who each gave $1 in support of humanitarian research with radium. Grace, over here.
Irene, look! I got my certificate. Madame Marie Curie Radium Club.
You gave $1?
It's all for science.
Science? What about my room and board?
Look, she's coming.
We still on for later. Welcome all. I must ask you, yes, hello. I must ask you, ladies and gentlemen of the press, please limit your questions. Madame Curie is about to embark on an exhausting tour of the country, and she is under strict doctor's orders to rest. However, in the typical fashion of a scientist who can think only of her research, her life's work, she has refused to rest.
Madame Curie, what will you do with the radium? What will you do with the radium?
I will continue my experiments to find better methods for the treatment of the cancer.
Is radium a cure for all cancer?
Cure for the cancer? Yes, that is so. It is already curing all kinds of the cancer.
But some doctors dispute that.
Since they do not understand the method, there is no question. Radium will cure the cancer.
Madame Curie! How have you managed to devote yourself both to science and to your children?
It has not been easy. But my daughters share my gratitude to the American women for their interest in science and my work. I am most grateful.
Madame Curie!
No more questions, please. Madame Curie is on a strict schedule. Mrs. Andrew Carnegie has sent a car and will escort Dr. Curie personally, as will I, to Washington, where President Harding will present the gift of 1 gram of radium.
Did you see that, Charlie? This is a marketing opportunity. We'll send her one of our customers' watches, courtesy the United States Radium Corporation.
We'll need a press release.
Radium isn't just for scientists to study. The average American can share in its glory every night. Luminous watches, luminous clocks. Consider all the advances made in the past 50 years. The electric light, the telegraph,
The telephone.
the automobile, things all once considered novelties, as toys.
Are now essentials to modern life. Got it. That ought to sell some watches.
Watches, absolutely. But that's not where the market is. You heard the woman, it's in the medical field.
And Standard Chemical owns it.
Only because Von Sachaki lets him. But we can get half their market if we want. It's just a matter of position.
Standard Chemical publishes its own journal. Sends it out monthly to 12,000 doctors. We could do something similar.
Something scholarly. Something that the doctors will respect.
A bibliography of every article ever published on radium.
But with capsule reports. The doctors can get the information, they can read it fast,
And have us to thank for it.
Exactly. Well, we'll send it to every doctor in the U.S. Radium Society.
To every doctor in the American Medical Association.
That is the spirit, Charlie. Advertising, it's the wave of the future. It's not just the product, it's the way you promote it.
Grace, you should have seen it. The church was filled with flowers, lilies, carnations, and orchids. You know how Melio loved orchids.
Those weren't orchids.
Those were orchids, Irene.
Flags.
Orchids! I know one when I see one. That smell, Grace, that smell. It was like
Flowers?
no. It was like heaven. I was going to say it was like heaven.
Like heaven. Catherine, it was just a funeral.
You make it out like it was some Valentino picture.
It wasn't just a funeral. It was Amelia's, and it was beautiful. The church was like the botanical gardens. The company sent a big spray of flowers, too. Carnations.
Mums.
Yellow carnations! You are out of your mind if you didn't know their mums. Please!
Well, it sounds like it was a nice service anyhow.
Ladies, the whistle has already gone. Now then, I have received my instructions for today. We're going back to the old way of pointing the brushes. We were losing too much paint in the cloth.
But,
Yes, Grace. Something you wish to say?
Dr. Von Shaki told me not to do that. He said it's unsanitary.
Unsanitary? Well, I'd hardly believe he'd say something like that. We've been doing this for as long as I've been here. You must have misunderstood him.
Yes, ma'am.
And we're not to get new brushes until we're done with the old. And they have to be so bad that you cannot make a point with them. No more.
You can't make a quarter like that.
Well, you'll do your best then, since I have received my instructions.
I need a new brush.
Well, it's not for us to be asking questions, isn't it? It's for us to do the work.
I have instructions, girls. I have instructions.
Here's an instruction for you, McNeil. Let some of the starch out of your corsets.
Was she at the service?
McNeil, are you kidding? You'd think she'd cross the street for her own mother.
You was about the only girl from the floor who wasn't there.
Well, I wanted to go, but Ma was working and I had to watch the little ones.
You could have brought them.
All 7?
Well, if it's me, I tried to be there.
Just lay off. Grace feels bad as it is.
Were many of the fellas there?
Oh yeah, lots of fellas from downstairs. Mr. Ross from the front office, Dr. Von Shiitake was there, and Mr. Rear.
And he left early.
So, he was there all the same. Oh, Grace, you know the fellow from Crystallizing? The one with the red hair? He was there. You know who I mean.
The tall one with the freckles?
Yeah, that's the one who snaps his fingers all the time.
George.
Jerry.
I think it's George.
It's Jerry. Jerry Malone. He's the one who's always talking to Amelia in the day room.
Grace, when the mass is over, he goes over to the coffin. He goes like this. He goes like this. Mwah.
No.
Yes.
Really?
Really?
What did he say?
Well, he did, and nobody could believe it.
So what if he did?
So what? He was in love with her. That's so what. Don't you think so, Grace?
Well, he had to have been if he did that.
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? He loved her and never could bring himself to say because she was so beautiful and he was so shy. And now their love is forever thwarted. He didn't tell her, and he'll never have a chance ever again.
Poor Amelia.
Poor Amelia.
Poor kid.
Her family took it awful bad, Grace. Alberto, Quinta, every one of them crying. Even her father crying. I never did see a man cry like that before, just bawling like a baby.
And you know why, too.
Well, because their daughter had died.
What she died from.
Irene, don't go spreading stories.
It's not a story. Albina told us. No reason Grace shouldn't know.
No what? No what? Amelia?
Ain't it awful? Her father fit to be tied. 2 6 girls at home. Ain't none of them ever going to dance again.
All because Amelia up and died from syphilis. Shh. I can't help it if that's what she died from.
Well, you don't know that for sure.
It's on the death certificate.
Anemia and complications from syphilis.
Well, Amelia was ever so nice.
She got around more than we knew.
Maybe the doctor was wrong. Doctors are wrong sometimes.
Come on.
That's true. Doctor's wrong about Aunt Ivy.
What's Mama got to do with it?
Up to the day she died. The doctor said, you'll be fine. Get a good night's rest. A cup of tea. And then 2 days later, he was walking up to the Rosedale Cemetery.
Ladies, your attention, please. The gentlemen are here to make an announcement.
Thank you, Mrs. McNeil. Girls, I'm here to put a few rumors to rest.
And to explain some changes, yep.
As you may have heard, Dr. Von Shiitake is stepping down. He would like to take this opportunity.
And to take this time to make with the goodbyes, and Mr. Reither has so kindly consented. Some of you have known since you were little girls coming here during the war, working so hard at the bench day after day. 200, 300, some of you $500 a day. So happy to be part of the work here. When I started this company in my kitchen, mixing up the paint, I knew I stumbled upon something miraculous, something to make life better and easier. And now what do I read? So many more uses for the radium, more than I ever dreamed.
Thank you, Doctor.
Yes, thank you, Doctor. Now, girls, the doctor is a very busy man and must be on his way. So, let's wish him the best of luck at his new job.
And let us wish the best of luck to you, Mr. Reader. With the new plate, he steps up as the company president.
Thank you, Doctor.
When Mr. Reader came to us 4 years ago, I saw him as a great man of enterprise
Thank
and
you.
ambition.
Thank you,
Little
Doctor.
did I know where his ambition would take the company, but that is something about this country that is so great. The opportunity it gives the young man and his
And
friends.
so, girls.
And so, ladies, let us wish the best of luck to Mr. Reader in the new direction he decides to take the company.
New direction?
With the slowdown in dial
Now, Doctor.
and the business moving into the medical field, there's going to be some
But
changes.
what the doctor is referring to is some of our larger customers are opening their own dial painting
Which
studios.
means less work for our girls here.
In the short run, it may be slower, but the Waterbury Clock Company in Connecticut will need help opening its new studio. We were planning to make this announcement next week, but I guess we'll make it now. Mrs. McNeil?
Yes, we'll be asking some of you girls to go on up there.
The work, it's supervisory in nature, which means more pay. Do you have any girls in mind?
Lise Common is one, Meta McCarthy, Sarah Deutsch, and Catherine Schwab. I'll have the entire list downstairs. I'll post it today.
Wonderful. All right then, girls. Seeing as you are all on the clock, I will leave you to your work.
Thank you, ladies, and my best wishes to you.
Now that's back to work with you girls.
You're gonna do it, Catherine? You're gonna take that job? I don't know, Grace, would you go all the way up to Connecticut? I don't know, it's awful far from home and Tommy would have a fit.
Come on, it would be lots of fun. Irene? Irene?
Irene, are you alright?
Huh? Yeah, why wouldn't I be alright? What?
Your mouth is bleeding.
$35 a week and she quits the place.
There's more to life than money.
That's what you say when you're young, Tom. But you and Grace get to be my age with a house full of your kids underfoot. You'll thank God for every penny you put by.
So we got money put by.
How much?
Enough to get married on.
It don't take much to get married on. Do you have enough to stay married on?
So you let us get married, we'll find out.
Are you still eating, Tommy?
It's good.
Well, you're gonna get sick.
Gotta keep up his strength. He works hard for his money.
Don't start, Ma.
I didn't say nothing. It's your father who hit the roof over it.
He didn't hit the roof.
You should have seen the man's face, Tom, when he heard Grace wasn't working no more. Most girls would give their eye teeth for a job like that. Good money, easy work, nice-looking fellas around the plant.
You didn't tell me about them, Grace.
There wasn't that many of them, not much to tell.
And she leaves it all behind for reasons unknown. I'm tired of it up there, she says. Are you tired of the paycheck, I says. Who needs a paycheck, she says. I got me a boyfriend to take me out Saturdays.
Oh, she said that.
You know very well I didn't. And for your information, I got a new job. I started the bank on Monday.
Oh yeah, the bank. And what's it pay?
Enough.
Enough. Always enough. You know what that means, Tom? It don't come close to what it pays up at the radium plant.
It's office work.
Office work. Woo! I guess that means you'll be spending more money on clothes then.
Boy, she's really steamed at ya.
I don't see what difference it makes as long as I'm working somewhere.
Don't make no difference to me. I just thought you liked it up there.
Well, of course I liked it up there. I worked there for 4 years.
So, I've been delivering mail almost 8 years and plan to keep on delivering mail another 20 or 30 if I'm lucky. Nothing like steady work and a good pension to help you sleep at night.
Well, I don't have a pension and I sleep just fine.
I bet you do. So, how come you quit, Grace?
A lot of girls are quit. Work is slow, and ever since Irene left, it just hasn't been as much fun. Besides, wouldn't you rather have a girlfriend who works at the bank?
Not as much as I'd like to have a wife who don't work anywhere.
Close your eyes, I got a surprise for you.
You want me to pull the blinds?
Not that kind of surprise. Look,
Wallpaper.
for the baby's room.
Babies, Grace, you won't kiss me, and you're talking about babies.
There's gonna be babies eventually, Tommy.
Well, sure, but Grace, most girls get married before they decorate the nursery.
Plan ahead for once. Pick one.
They're both the same.
No, they are not. This one has big flowers, and this one has little flowers. So pick one.
Is this some sort of test?
No, it's wallpaper.
No, this is a test.
Just pick one.
I don't know this one.
Really?
This one then.
Well, which one do you like, though?
They're both fine.
This one's pretty, don't you think?
And this one.
But I want you to like it, too.
If you like it, I'll like it. Wallpaper is wallpaper.
No, it isn't. You've gotta pick something you can stand to look at for 20 years.
Same way you pick women?
Keep it up, smarty pants. You won't ever get that kiss.
All right, this one, hands down. This one.
I agree. A nice neutral yellow for if it's a boy or a girl. And in the meantime, maybe we can use the room for something else.
Something else? Like what?
Like a painting studio, maybe?
Like a painting studio, maybe. Haven't you got enough of painting at work?
Oh, Tommy, that's not the kind of painting I like to do. When I was in school, I used to paint watercolors. Ever since I went to work, I just haven't had as much time, what with helping Mom, watching the kids, and when we get married, I just want a little time, just a little time to myself, so I can paint watercolors, or oils, or portraits in oils. I could paint your portrait if you'd like.
Yeah, we'll paint a big portrait for me. We'll hang it in the outhouse. All our friends will come around and use the can just so they can see it.
The way you talk sometimes.
Grace, if you want to paint pictures, you paint pictures. I'm not going to stop you.
You say that now, but once we get married, you'll change your tune.
Sure, I'll be whistling Dixie.
Wait till you come home one night. All wore out, some Christmas maybe, and all the customers on your route had 3 times the mail. Some dog got after you, and some old lady kept you waiting on her stoop, telling you all about her grandchildren, and you didn't have the heart to tell her you couldn't talk. I know you, Tom. So you finally get home, all cranky, late besides, and hungry, waiting your dinner. And where am I? I'm in the kitchen, with my easel set up, a drop cloth on the floor, plates all over the table, and your dinner nowhere to be found. What would you say then, Tom?
Better be a picture of me you're painting.
I know what you'd say. Where's my dinner? That's what you'd say.
Well, sure, I just like to admire the painting on a full stomach, is all. So, how'd I do it? I picked the right wallpaper?
Maybe I should go look at stripes.
Stripes, polka dots, Grace, I don't care. Let's just get married. You're plenty old enough. Just tell your mom we ain't waiting no more. We'll run off.
We can't just run off, Tommy. We gotta do it right. We're gonna have a nice church wedding with flowers and music, and then we'll take a week at the seashore, just us. And then we'll get settled in our own place. You'll see, it'll be worth it.
Your mouth hurt you?
Yeah, the dentist wants to take another tooth out in the back.
Well, what's a tooth?
Hazel Kuzer, any relations to the rest?
Only by virtue of employment.
Except she's got a good lawyer.
Oh. Knows how to write a good letter, anyway, that lawyer.
And she no longer works here.
Left 6 months ago.
That makes 4 now.
3.
For if you count Miss Magia,
I wouldn't include her.
she worked here.
She also worked other places. And what she died from, you couldn't get that here. At least I don't think you can.
It's not funny, Charlie. Besides, it's just idle talk.
In my experience, there's usually something to the idle talk. When it comes to girls like that,
She comes from a large family.
yes, Italians. The conditions they live in, 10, 12 people in 3 rooms. It's a wonder they don't all die of one infection or another.
So, 3 now, and how many dead?
Only Miss Magia, but I haven't heard from her people yet.
It's too late for them anyways. Statute of limitations is 2 years, but Miss Kuzer is another story. She's in a position to make trouble.
So long as I've worked here, no one has slipped on the floor, and now all of this.
Arthur, we're talking about what? 3, 4 girls. Of how many hundreds that you have employed?
6, maybe 700 over the years.
And some of them were sick when they got here. One girl you hired was completely crippled. Her father had to carry her up to the studio each morning.
It doesn't matter how she got here. She was a fast worker and a very sweet little girl.
But she was in poor health.
She needed the work. And it's not just about the money, it's to feel productive, to have a purpose. That's what work does, Charlie. It gives us a purpose. I see no reason why we shouldn't hire girls like that.
When they come to us and blame us for their getting sick, I think you should reconsider that policy.
Let's see what Drinker has to say.
Drinker?
He's a professor at the Harvard School of Industrial Hygiene.
He's the head of the department, and he's agreed to take a look at our operations.
Don't you think that we're jumping the gun hiring him?
6 girls have quit just this week, and Mrs. McNeil says there's likely to be more.
Girls come and go all the time.
But Charlie, it's never been like this. The girls are scared. We have to do something to calm them.
Letting Drinker examine them? That sounds like a recipe for mass hysteria.
Why don't we call it a routine physical?
Yes, companies have physicals all the time.
We'll have Dr. Drinker start next month.
And in the meantime, I recommend we make an offer to Miss Kuzer.
Settle?
There's no proof that her problems are related to us.
If she sues, trust me, you will not like the publicity, and neither will your investors.
You think this will affect the stock offering?
Don't you?
Wonderful. We'll open at 30 and close at 10.
Or not open at all.
Okay. But if we give this girl some money, that will keep her quiet?
It would be a condition of the settlement.
What if some lawyer has a racket going and they find girls and convince them into making suits, and then we reward him for his larceny?
Unless Miss Kuzer genuinely believes that she got sick here.
It could be as Charlie says, she comes from a large family, not well educated, not a lot of resources.
A few $100 make a big difference to a girl like that.
Yes, buy some medicine, pay a few doctors. From what it sounds like, she won't be alive for long.
So it would really be a gesture of decency then.
Exactly.
What do you think we should offer?
March 24, 1924, Jackie Youngwood reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic, the Graphic's only girl reporter.
Could radium water pose a cure for crippling arthritis? Scientific studies suggest a connection.
Dateline, Orange, New Jersey. Radium water products offer a miracle cure for crippling arthritis.
Some patients report a significant abatement in their symptoms.
Mrs. Jerry B. Michaels of the Bronx tells how radium water transformed her life.
My pain got so bad I could hardly bend over.
While some patients report only mild relief.
This poor, brave woman could not even bend down to kiss her little ones goodnight.
And I got 3. Let me tell you, they're a handful.
Dr. Harrison Martland, Chief Medical Examiner of Essex County. Comments on the study?
Preliminary, at best.
Your recommendations, Dr. Martland?
I advise further study, definitely further study.
Then Mrs. Michaels tried Radiathor.
They said it helped my rheumatism, so I drank a vial a day for a month. It wasn't cheap, but I was desperate.
Well, the test sample is questionably small.
Well, first off, I felt like I'd been hit by a bolt of lightning. It was that powerful. Now I drink a vial a week
just to maintain my health. I hang the laundry and scrub the kitchen floor, same as I've always done.
Dr. William J.A. Bailey of Orange, inventor of Radiator, reports a strong demand for his product. Dr. William Bailey of Orange announces sales of Radiator exceed 100,000 cases worldwide.
Radiation is one of the most powerful agents in modern science. I drink Radiator myself and I can vouch for its power.
A bottle a day.
And $1 a bottle?
Worth every penny.
Yes, I too was a picture of lethargy before I discovered the amazing, vitalizing qualities of radium water. And now look at me! I'm nearly 50 years old, but I'm the of a man in his 30s!
Rather look a man in his 30s.
Oh, well, thank you.
A testament to the tonic's potency?
Or to the sailor's creativity.
Radiator! It's perpetual sunshine, baby!
And a perpetual money-making machine for its inventor.
Is there no end to what science can do?
Maybe we should have made an appointment.
I don't need no appointment for this.
It's an awful busy place. If you don't have an appointment, maybe we should make one.
I shouldn't need no appointment for this.
I'm sorry, I don't find anything under shock.
No, it's under Rudolph. Rudolph? Irene Rudolph, the girl that I'm asking about.
She filed a complaint.
No, the dentist did.
The dentist?
Dr. Neff, Irene's dentist. He said that she might have bossy jaw, so he was going to complain to the health department about it. But when I asked him, he said that he had heard nothing, and it's been more than 6 months now.
Bossy jaw, you said?
Yes!
Maybe it's like your doctor said, a blood infection.
Yeah, but that's the thing. What was it from? What gave it to her?
Dirt. You get infections from the dirt.
From dirt? Her face puffed up like a pumpkin. Her jaw rotten so bad she could not eat nothing. You think you get that from dirt? You get it from phosphorus. They're telling everybody that's rating the paint that makes it glow. It's really phosphorus.
Catherine, you can't really believe all that.
You saw her, Grace.
So, Catherine, if it was like you said, they'd never let you work there in the first place.
Sure, they'd have shut the place down.
Shut it down who? Who's gonna shut it down?
I don't know, the county?
Honestly, Grace, you're such a ninny.
Hey.
How are they gonna shut it down if they don't know about it? Ever think of
Come
that?
on.
It's all right, Tommy.
She's got no business talking to you like that.
She's just upset.
Upset? She's going around the bend. She probably thinks you're dumping arsenic in the drinking water. Next, they'll be there kidnapping babies to use them to stoke the furnace.
Oh, go ahead and laugh. You won't be laughing so hard once you come in your 6 months from now asking after Grace.
Oh, for crying out loud.
Catherine, it's just a toothache.
That's how it's turned for Irene. Just a toothache, Grace. You wait. One morning you'll wake up, your gums are hurting so bad you won't be able to open your mouth. So weak and so sick,
Catherine,
you won't
stop.
be able to stand up. The pain is so bad you won't be able to sleep, and your face so
I said stop
swollen.
it! Grace, it's fine. Right, Gracie?
Irene Rudolph.
That's it.
Does she work on the radio plant?
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Huh?
The company's in full compliance with all state health and safety.
Give me that.
Miss, really.
Who's Miss Young?
That's a state health officer, miss.
The paint is a harmless compound of radium and zinc.
As I was saying, the analysis show there's no phosphorus in the paint. There's no phosphorus anywhere in the plant.
There. See, Catherine?
Miss Young toured the plant herself. She found nothing amiss. I'm sorry.
Well, time for some lunch then?
I want to file another complaint.
They already did an
I want to
investigation.
file another complaint!
Oh, brother.
folks, Catherine. They're awful busy.
I'm going to file another complaint.
I know, I just don't see what good it's gonna do, making such a fuss this way.
Grace, 3 surgeries, and they wanted to cover up again. Irene finally said no. She knew what was going to keep her jaw was running so bad. This no one's terrible, and the worst of it is, I couldn't look at her. Irene was so afraid of being left alone. But when she died in the middle of the night, no one was with her.
I'm sorry. Can we get another form? My friend wants to file another complaint.
Another complaint. Is the girl sick?
No, she died.
Wait here.
You'll come down from that tree at once. I'm waiting for Papa. Fine, when he gets here, I'll send him up after you. There he is! Papa! Papa!
Harriet!
Harriet, come down at once. Papa, I can see clear the church from here.
Oh, can you? Can you see your grandfather?
No, but I can see the schoolhouse. You think this is funny?
She's 9 years old, Diane.
Harriet!
Tell you what, if she has no one to yell to, she won't yell.
Well, they can hear her all over the neighborhood.
Oh, can they?
When she comes down, I want you to speak to her.
She's enjoying herself.
I'm trying to raise a daughter, not a son.
Time is on your side. In a few years, she'll lose interest in climbing trees and gain a fascination with boys.
Is that supposed to scare me?
Oh, and when the time comes, you'll be frantic because she no longer wants to climb trees.
What's this?
Something to give you vitality.
You think I need
That's what it
vitality?
says on the bottle.
Is it pure?
We're the supplier. Do you want to try some?
That will give me vitality. How could I refuse? Your father came by to see me today.
Another hard luck case?
4 children at home, all under the age of 6.
Let me guess. The mother in the hospital with cancer.
Yes.
The father laid off from, let's see, the brickyard.
Yes.
Through no fault of his own.
How did you know?
Dad was around to see me yesterday. It's never enough with him to have a normal ambition. Always have to have a mission in life.
And you do.
No, I have a business plan.
You can't tell me you wouldn't help this man if you could.
If I could, I would, but I can't give him a job that doesn't exist.
Oh, what about Dan Lehman?
Dan?
Maybe he could use some help.
Dan needs trained technicians, not a bricklayer. Why don't you send him to Mrs. Middleton? Don't you women have a social club for that kind of thing?
You mean the Women's Club Civics Committee?
Right.
Yes, the club takes an interest in such cases, but we're not an employment service either. That's why I thought maybe you could help.
Oh, don't you love being married to the company president?
It has its advantages.
Ever think of trading it in?
Do you?
This morning, I got my shoes shined, and as I watched the boy work, I thought, this is quite the enterprise. The work walks in, the work walks out, there's no inventory, no stock prices, no warehouse.
And you trade it all for your own shoe shine stand?
That's heading that way.
So you're in one of those moods again. What's it this time? Can't be the market, that went up today.
You're reading the financial pages
I
now.
have to entertain myself somehow. So, what happened? You're acting strange.
Am I? I'm sorry.
You can tell me, you know.
It's really nothing. I mean, we're going to have the best year yet.
So it's the prospect of success that you find so disheartening.
I'll grab my check.
What for?
Your bricklayer.
Arthur, he needs a job, not charity. What is it your father always says? A working man needs to work. It wears
on his soul not to. If it's a matter of his soul, that's different. I'll have him talk to Dan. No promises, though.
No promises.
To your health.
How long you had this drainage?
A week or two, but it hurts something awful, Dr. Neff.
Anything else bothering you now?
My back some.
Your back? You seen your regular doctor yet?
He says it's just nerves.
Nerves?
About my wedding and all.
Well, this ain't no case of nerves. I hope you told him that.
Well, what do you think?
You better schedule that surgery.
Can't we just put it off a little longer till after my wedding?
You don't have that surgery. There won't be no wedding.
What?
Mrs. Fryer, I want you to listen to me very carefully. Your jawbone is decaying. That black pus oozing out your gums, the bone itself.
That's impossible.
To Mr. Arthur Reeder, U.S. Radium Corporation, from Dr. Cecil Drinker, Harvard University, enclosed is our report.
Finally.
We believe the trouble in your plant is due to the radium.
Radium?
It can't be as bad as all that.
This can't be.
Put off the surgery and you'll develop a septic condition. It could be fatal.
The blood changes in your employees can be explained on no other grounds.
Everything I've got, I saved it up for my wedding.
Photographic films carried by employees show heavy fogging,
Well, I got a suggestion for you.
and we suspect high levels of gamma radiation throughout the plant.
Go down to the plant and explain to them your situation.
Go to the company?
We realize no proof can be offered at present.
Want to see what kind of shape you're in?
This is impossible.
They gotta feel obligated to help you out.
But in view of the material in literature
This must be a mistake.
I don't see how they could refuse.
and the facts disclosed by our investigation, we recommend immediate and drastic remedial action.
Look, if you want, I'll write to them myself. They can just work for me, pay my bills directly.
You think they do that?
They got a moral obligation, don't you think?
Guess so.
We'll do it right now. I'll get some paper.
Charlie, this must be a mistake. There's no way this is right.
What?
You must have overlooked something.
If it's the radium that's causing these illnesses, it should occur generally throughout the plant.
One would expect.
There are several hundred milligrams of radium in big vats at all times. Several hundred in ore, and several hundred in crystallized.
And the whole backyard is full of tailings.
It's present in good amounts across our entire plant.
If it were the radium, one would expect the highest incidence of illness to be in the laboratory.
And no one there is sick.
Maybe it's some combination of the radium and the zinc.
Or something unique to our plant alone.
Bacteria, perhaps, in the brushes.
It just can't be the radium. There are hundreds of application sites across the country, and no one has reported anything like this.
The Department of Labor wants to see the report.
Yes, I'm aware.
What do we say? How do we answer them? This tears us to pieces.
They want to see the report. We'll send them this.
One page.
It's the most important page.
Drinker will never stand.
Drinker works for us. It's a proprietary report. What we do with it is our own business.
The Department of Labor, Arthur.
Charlie, we just need a little time. Just a little time.
They could shut us down for this.
They're scientists, government men. They'll never know what it takes to run a business. Bonzacciocchi thought advertising was a dirty word. He laughed at the very idea of promotion. Do you know how many times I walked into that man's office and he turned a deaf ear to everything I told him? But Charlie, we showed him. We showed him. I mean, look at us now. We're the largest single supplier of radium in the world. Largest in the world. And do you know what it took for us to get here? Do you think I'm going to stand idly by and let our good name get dragged through the mud? Trust me, Charlie.
It is awful nice of you to come all this way.
Not at all, my dear, not at all.
Well, I told my surgeon you was coming over, so he gave me the results of my blood work.
Excellent.
And so?
I must say, Miss Fryer, your blood looks better than mine.
It does?
Well, that's what happens to an old woman who smokes. Now tell me, what else is troubling you?
My feet and my back mostly. I've had to wear a brace for a while.
So I see. And this started before you left the company, or after?
After I left. Dr. Neff says it has all to do with the radium plant. There's another girl I worked with for a while there, and she died from it. Irene Rudolph?
Oh, yes. Terrible thing. Vincent's angina.
What's that?
That's an ulcerated condition of the mouth, my dear.
From the radium?
Oh, no. A rare and unfortunate result of poor dental care. So let this be a lesson to you. Always brush your teeth.
There was something else I read about in the papers about other girls getting sick. And there's another girl I worked with for a little while, and she's at a hospital in New York, and the doctors still don't know what's wrong. They've never seen anything like it.
Don't tell me you pay any attention to those papers. Those stories are not scientific.
Wow.
Reporters are not scientific, Miss Fryer. They are simply not scientific. They do not follow the scientific methods. They write to sell, not to educate. The scientist isn't concerned with what sells. He is concerned with the truth. He undertakes years of painstaking study to arrive at an understanding of intricate and natural processes that most people could never presume to comprehend. You would do well to listen to science and ignore the nonsense that is printed in the papers. Because I can tell you right now, radium has absolutely nothing to do with what's ailing you.
It doesn't?
Not in the least.
Then what is ailing me?
Poor diet, Miss Fryer, poor diet.
But Dr. Neff said
Dr. Neff is a dentist, not a physician. What you have is a vitamin deficiency. You must eat more fresh fruit.
Hard to do that in the winter.
And raw meat as well. That will help with the anemia. Raw calf's liver particularly. Cook it if you must, but eat it twice a week, at a minimum. No, Miss Fryer. I am a scientist, and I take purely scientific interest in this situation. By allowing me to examine you, you've helped me advance my own studies. I thank you. Call me anytime, day or night.
Okay, Dr. Flynn. Thanks.
Happy to be of service, my dear.
Dr. Francis Flynn, PhD, Physiology, Columbia University. PhD? That's not a real doctor.
My findings, Mr. Reader.
She's seen half a dozen girls that used to work at the plant. Word I hear? She's working for the company.
An objective evaluation, I trust.
The source of my funding has no bearing on my research.
And I let that lady examine me.
I never examined her, per se. It was not a medical examination, per se.
Nevertheless, you were able to offer her some useful advice.
I truly did my best for her.
It's the same thing with every girl. Nothing wrong with you.
Your blood is better than mine, she says.
And how are you doing on the rest of the report?
The animal studies I conducted revealed no adverse effects from radium. The problem, as you suspected, is one of personal hygiene only.
I can't believe somebody would do that to you. Straight out lie to you like that.
Nothing surprises me.
It's just like you say, Catherine. They'll say anything. They'll do anything.
Except the right thing.
Well, We're gonna make him, Catherine. Somebody is gonna hear about this.
I'm so thankful, Dr. Flynn, but I'm particularly grateful that this young woman you examined is doing much better.
Didn't examine her, no. I merely consulted with her.
All the same, you say she's doing much better now?
From what I can see, Mr. Reader, she is on the road to recovery.
Wonderful.
Here is my statement of fees and expenses.
Thank you. I'll have Mr. Lee draw you a check.
And so, I leave you now with this one thought. Ladies and gentlemen, we do not have to accept injustice. We can use our powers as consumers to influence those who wish to profit from our conditions.
Thank you, Miss Wiley. And thank you to the New Jersey's Consumers League for another job well done. This concludes our program for this evening. I don't believe we have time for questions. However, I do hope you will join us next door for some light refreshments.
You want to?
My throat's a little dry.
Oh, can I help you, miss?
I just wanted to speak with Miss Wiley.
You're not a member of the Women's Club?
No, ma'am.
Are you a guest of a member?
No, ma'am, but Miss Wiley...
Then I'm sure Miss Wiley would be happy to see you during her regular business hours.
I'm not leaving until I see Miss Wiley.
Mrs. Middleton, it's all right. It's fine. You must be Miss Fryer.
Yes, Miss Young at the health department said I should come see you, and I know I should have stopped by your office, but I just missed so much work lately, and I can't miss any more.
No need to apologize. I've been meaning to call upon you myself. Please, sit down.
Well, me and Catherine, we wrote to the company about our troubles, but we never heard nothing back, so we went to talk to a couple lawyers, but they all said they can't do nothing since it's been so long since we left the radium plant. Something about the law won't allow it.
The statute of limitations.
Right. Well, there was one lawyer who said he would try to sue anyhow, only he wants $1,000 up front. And I already spent everything I saved up for my wedding on hospitals and doctors and dentists, and they still don't know what's wrong. And Tom, that's my fella, he says he don't care, and he just wants to get married anyhow. But I just don't see what good I would do to him like this, Miss Wiley, so I just think if I could get my compensation, I could settle my debts, and maybe I wouldn't feel like I'm saddling him with so much burden. I'm so sorry to rattle on at you about these things, but I am so tired of being pushed around.
I don't blame you.
Well, Miss Young said that the Consumers League has some sort of clout?
I'd like to think so. We've certainly had our share of successes.
So, can you help us?
Tell me, Miss Fryer, how far are you willing to go with this?
Ma'am?
Suppose I do find you a lawyer, somebody who'd be willing to take you on a contingency. You wouldn't have to pay him unless you won. Would you be willing to sue?
I want my compensation.
Of course you do. Now, suppose the company says, here, Miss Fryer, here's some money. Only, you are to tell no one of what we've agreed to here. You are to say nothing of how you got sick.
Like, keep it quiet?
Yes.
Well, that don't seem right.
It isn't right, but it's what they'll do. They'll try to buy your silence. Is it for sale, Miss Fryer?
No, ma'am, it isn't.
Good.
So, can you help us?
I think I can help you. Only, you're going to have to take a few chances.
Chances?
If you'd be willing to put aside your own need, just for the moment, I think we'd be able to put a stop to this company. Stop them dead in their tracks.
Well, what do I have to do?
We start by putting you on page 1.
Page 1. You wanted to talk to the newspaper.
Not one newspaper, many, many newspapers.
Is that really necessary? All we want is for Grace to get her compensation.
Tommy, let her finish.
I understand your concern, but this company has already shown it's willing to go to great lengths to protect itself. No, I'm afraid the only way we'll get to them is to hit them where it matters most. Their public image.
If we can get every newspaper in America to tell your story on how you were poorly treated, on how you suffered, on how the company denied all responsibility, believe me, Miss Fryer, when that happens, Arthur Reader will come to the table with his hat in his hands.
All right, Miss Wiley.
I know it's wrong.
It's okay. Right now, I am more angry than I am scared.
Good. You hang on to that anger. You're gonna need it. Only, be sure nobody sees it.
Ma'am?
Public sympathy, Miss Fryer. That is our greatest weapon. But the public doesn't have much sympathy for an angry woman.
December 4, 1927, Jackie Youngwood with the Newark Ledger. Nancy Jane Harlan for the New York Graphic. I'm the strange case of the Radium girls who claimed they were poisoned at the hands of their employer and now seek their day in court.
$250,000.
That's the price tag on their suffering.
$250,000?
Well, if you ask me, it's all a sham.
What do you mean? Those girls are very sick.
Sick of what?
Doctors say Radium girls only have a year left to live. Only 1 year to live and 250 grand to spend. What would you do with that kind of money? What would you do to ease your last suffering days on Earth? What would you do with $250,000?
I'd buy a wardrobe, like I read castles.
I'd give it all to charity.
And then I'd travel around the world, first class, with all of my friends.
I would play the stock market.
And I'd buy my wife a fur coat and a diamond the size of New Hampshire.
I'd use it to pay my medical bills and to pay off my second mortgage, the one my father took out to pay for my last operation.
Pretty Grace Fryer sits at home, suffering bravely through this entire ordeal, struggling valiantly to keep up her flagging spirits for the sake of her family and her friends.
It hurts to smile. I try to smile. I know if I don't, I'll go crazy.
Tell us, Miss Fryer, how does it feel knowing you have so little time left?
I try not to think about it.
I can't see you so.
Look what you've been through. The company's getting fat off your labor.
And all they have to say about it is,
No comment! Don't you just want to punch someone?
Oh no, that won't do any good. I like to think about how it's gonna be when justice prevails. Maybe I can do something nice for my folks. Send them on a trip. They never did have no honeymoon.
What a fine example of womanhood! We can only aspire to bear our crosses in life as nobly as this young girl!
Mr. Barry, I must object to this kind of histrionics.
Mr. Markley, I had nothing to do with that.
I've been in the game a long time, Mr. Barry, and when I see a story like this move over the wires, I'm not so naive to believe the plaintiff's attorney had nothing to do with it.
What's your proposal, Mr. Markley?
$1,500 for each girl.
$1,500.
That's not even a year's wages.
We think it's very generous since your case won't survive the statute of limitations.
This is a case in equity, sir. The Chancery Court will come to a different conclusion.
The Chancery Court can't rewrite the law, and the law is clear. 2 years from the date of the injury, your clients are out of time.
2 years from the date the cause of injury is discovered.
Very creative, Mr. Barry. Very clever. I have to admire your imagination, but you've a long way to go before you convince the judge.
And in the meantime, Mr. Markley, the press will continue to take great interest in the story and the company's complete indifference to its workers.
And no doubt it will be great press for the Consumers League. And you accuse us of exploiting these girls.
You're the one hiding out in the statute of limitations.
Hiding this one.
You know very well the law never anticipated a situation like this. These girls were dying years before anyone knew the cause.
Before anyone knew. Does that include the U.S. Radium Corporation, Miss Wiley? When, or I should say, if this case goes to court, I only hope that's your opening argument, Mr. Barry. You will have made our defense. See you in court.
The arrogance of that man!
What is the purpose of these articles, Miss Wiley?
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. That is the engine of reform.
You're antagonizing the company.
Then the strategy is working.
How does it help the girls to read in a dozen different newspapers that they have only so little time to live?
Mr. Barry, surely you can see that the U.S. Radium Corporation cares nothing about the girls as poison. But the average housewife in Orange cares very deeply, and so do millions of other women across the country. These women shop, they buy watches. Markley can be as smug as he likes, but the New Jersey's Consumers League will only lead to one outcome, and he knows it. That's why he was here today.
I only hope you're right, Miss Wiley.
Public sympathy, Mr. Barry. Wait and see.
Dear Miss Shaw, I read of your sad story in the Boston Globe, and am so sorry for your plight. It seems that at this time of rapid advancement, the well-being of the average worker is, well, overlooked. I would like to offer you girls the key to my own good health at the age of 92. It is called Christian Science.
Dear Miss Fryer, I read of your woeful situation in the Atlanta Constitution, and I am prepared to offer you what I may describe as a solution. Medicine! A wonder-saving from all natural ingredients! Medicine will restore your health and vitality! Wait, we are prepared to offer your lifetime supply of medicine! Exchange for low prices, privilege, and the exclusive extra photos of advertisements!
Dear girl, I read about you in the Villains Gazette. When I run 100 head of cattle up here, you're very fond of myself. I've always longed for a companion and offer you a comfortable home in your final hours. A girl like you has suffered so much. Don't you think you deserve some fleeting hours of happiness? Sincerely, your admirer, Leonard F. Watkins. P.S. Enclosed is my picture.
Look at this man, Catherine. He even sent a picture.
Oh!
Are you all right?
Bleeding again.
Shall I go get the nurse?
It's done this before. It'll stop.
Maybe we should go.
Don't go.
Don't you need to sleep?
Who can sleep? I never sleep.
You'll sleep tomorrow.
Yeah, might not wake up.
Of course you'll wake up.
Not if it don't go well. Sometimes it don't come out looking so good. My mother's cousin, she went in for her appendix. She never came home again.
Well, you just can't think that way. I mean, look at these letters, Catherine. Miss Wiley said people would be on our side, and she sure was right. This one's from California.
What if we don't win?
Of course we'll win.
But what if we don't? My father will lose his house, and then we'll be on the street. You'll be on the street. Your father must owe thousands. And you and Tom won't ever get married. How can you stand it, Grace?
Catherine, please.
How can Tom stand it? Don't you ever wonder? I never hear him complain.
Catherine, once the judge hears our testimony, he's going to rule for us. All they have to do is take one look at us. It'll be over in a day.
Think so?
Sure. I mean, once they see what kind of shape we're in, it'd be awful hard to ignore, don't you think?
That would be something then. See the look on Mr. Reuter's face when we get up on the stand.
Read some more letters?
Yeah.
They didn't have no vanilla, so I got some chocolate.
Took you long enough.
So don't get on me. I had 6 people stop me along the way. All of them reporters and all of them asking after you.
Waiting for me to die.
Always waiting for you to die.
It's true. One of them called my mother asking if I had died. When she said, no, he sounded disappointed.
Oh, just try eating a little of this. Maybe you'll feel better.
Evening, girls! How about a picture?
What are you doing?
I'm here for
What are you talking about?
$5,000, that's what? What do you say, Grace? Think you could use $5,000?
I don't understand.
Well, perhaps you've heard of Bernard McFadden.
Oh, that faith healer?
Herbalist, Mr. Creeder, herbalist. Bernard McFadden's patented herbal therapy is just the thing these girls need to get back on their feet. And the graphic will pay for it. All we ask is the exclusive rights to their story from here on out. See for yourself.
So, you're gonna pay us to go see Bernard McFadden?
Easy money, yeah.
Serious, Grace.
The graphic always does business on the up and up.
I don't know.
Grace, what did your father own the house?
I don't know
And
exactly.
that last hospital, that was a couple hundred at least.
At least.
We should think about this.
And all we do is talk to this herbalist fella.
Well, we'd have to get our money's worth. A series of regular features with pictures surrounding the course of your treatment, your illness, your recovery, or otherwise, depending on how it goes.
So, then you just print whatever you want?
Maybe we add some color. Everybody adds color.
Don't sound so bad.
And maybe we should talk to Miss Wiley about it.
Miss Wiley? What's it to her? You're the ones with bills to pay.
Well, it just don't feel right doing something like this without Miss Wiley knowing.
Oh, but you're a big girl, Grace. Can't you do things on your own?
Of course I can.
You'd take it if it came from the company.
The company owes us a lot more than that.
If you ever see it.
Maybe we should do it, Grace.
It just don't feel right.
When I talk to your reporters, I get something out of it.
He's right, you know. Why should you give your story away when people are dying to read it? Believe me, you girls could cash in big. The day we ran our feature on you, bang! Sold out of every copy at every newsstand. Everybody can sympathize with the plight of some poor, sick girls facing certain death with no hope of fulfillment in motherhood.
My friend is tired. She needs her rest. We would like you to go now.
At least think about it.
Sure, think it over. I understand you're worried about what people might think, but hey, you gotta look out for your own interests here. Why shouldn't you get a little something out of all this? Look out for the move number one, that's the way. Everybody else is out to get what they can for sure. Why should you sit back and keep your nose clean when everybody else is up to their elbows in it?
Gentlemen, I have treated a number of the girls who claim that they got sick here. One of them, the girl's jaw had rotted so bad, I was able to remove the bone from her mouth just by lifting it out with my finger, as you can see here.
That's all right, Dr. Neff. You can put that away.
Okay, Mr. Reader, perhaps you prefer to look at it on the x-ray. Now this here was quite an expensive case to treat, and never did get no compensation. The girl died. Her family never paid.
I sympathize with you, Dr. Neff, but what has this got to do with us?
Here it is straight. There are going to be a lot more girls claiming that they got sick here. So I'm proposing that we do business. You know, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, that sort of a thing.
I'm not following.
Suppose you was to give me a list of the girls who worked here. They'd see to it there are no more lawsuits.
You think you could cure them?
No, not a cure. I'm saying you scratch my back, I scratch yours.
How so, Dr. Nutt?
Well, first I would examine them for radium necrosis. Then I would come up with a favorable diagnosis, pyorrhea or something else. Most of the cases will just die natural death anyway, and the rest we can put off until the statute of limitations kicks in, and it's too late to sue.
You've convinced them they don't have a case against the company.
Exactly. And if it ever did come to trial, I could testify that it was some other problem. Be strong testimony coming from the dentist who treated them.
What makes you think these girls will come to you?
Oh, well, they'll flock to me if I don't charge them anything.
Because we'd be paying you.
Exactly. We understand each other, Mr. Reader.
So what are you exactly asking for, Dr. Nutt?
I need about $10,000 for my trouble so far, and for every girl I'd agree to see from here on out. $2 per visit, plus expenses for x-rays and other things. I'm suggesting a gentleman's agreement, but offer this not in writing.
No.
Okay, we'll put it in writing.
We'll do nothing of that kind. Your plan is immoral and will have nothing
immoral,
to do
you
with
said? Oh, you're finally talking about morals, Mr. Reader. When you got your own hand,
Those
right to
are expert
testify?
witnesses.
Expert witnesses? Pay back, Mrs. Moore. more like it. And believe me, none of them's got the information I've got.
You're threatening me!
Not a threat, Mr. Reed. Just a business proposition.
Mr. Lee, see Dr. Neff to the door.
All right, all right. When this all shakes out, it'll not be me holding the short end of the stick.
Gentlemen, I want you all to make statements about what happened this morning. We'll send them to the State Dental Society, and then Dr. Neff will see who's playing ball and who isn't.
An excellent idea.
Perhaps we shouldn't be so quick to dismiss Neff's proposal.
Why is that?
We are in a very bad situation, Mr. Reader.
Mr. Lee says we're having trouble getting the girls to work here.
And we're having difficulty getting contracts because of it.
And it's only going to get worse.
The papers are full of stories about those girls.
Making them out to be saints.
And what defense can we put out?
Except to say that we'll try our case in court.
And in a court of public opinion, we've already lost.
Perhaps we should reconsider. It certainly wouldn't hurt to have the testimony coming from a dentist who treated those girls.
Neff could be very helpful to us. We should retain him.
Retain him as what? An extortionist?
As an expert.
Like Dr. Flynn.
Dr. Flynn is an expert at Columbia University. Dr. Neff is a neighborhood dentist.
Dr. Flynn treated some of the girls, didn't he?
He didn't treat them, he examined them.
He dispensed medical advice, Arthur.
Charlie, it was not medical advice. It was a scientific opinion. An expert's opinion.
How about this? We retain Neff, but we don't put him on the stand, just to keep him from testifying for the women.
Right, that's the most important thing.
Yes, I agree. That's the most important thing.
Would you agree to something like that, Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Mr. Reader?
Edward, we can't simply do something like this. We cannot get in bed with a man like Neff.
Arthur's right. We don't want to do business with Neff.
But he could hurt us. We have to take steps.
Well, Neff has already given us everything we need, and that's new evidence. This grounds for postponement.
Three months to study an x-ray? It's outrageous. Did you see the girls? Their eyes were like saucers, staring at me. Terrified.
Mr. Barry.
How are they going to hold out 3 more months? Catherine Schwab could barely make it to the courtroom today. And Grace, she was trying so hard not to cry. But of course I had all the answers. Go home, girls. Get some rest, girls. That's the best I could do. Get some rest.
It's a difficult
I don't
case.
understand people like Markley and Reader. How do they play this type of game with those poor girls sitting right there?
I
You
received
think
something
the
that might
company
help
would be eager to get rid of
explain.
this with the kind of publicity this has gotten, but Markley seems to enjoy the sport of it. What he can get away with is very cold.
Mr. Barry.
What's this?
It's from Catherine Drinker, Mrs. Seal Drinker of Harvard. She's an industrial hygienist. She worked with Dr. Drinker on the study of the radium plant. It was a joint effort, actually.
Thank you, Miss Wiley, but we've already seen this. There's nothing in it to help us.
You've only seen part of it, Mr. Barry. Please, this is the full report. I received it this morning. Mrs. Drinker has been studying our story very closely in the papers, and she was deeply disturbed on what she found in the last article of the Ledger. You know, the one where Lee says her study clears the company?
He doctored the report, Reader doctored the report?
Yes, apparently he took out one page listing the blood conditions of a dozen employees and passed it off as the whole thing. Doesn't sound so bad by itself, does it? But in context, it's a somewhat different story.
We can use this.
Yes, the judge should be very impressed.
The judge, Miss Wiley? I'm not going to wait around 3 months to make use of this. I want you to call that contact you have in New York World, and if Reader won't let us present about it in the courtroom, then he can read about it in the newspaper.
January 12, 1928, Jackie Youngman reporting for the Newark Ledger.
Nancy Jane Hartland for the Graphic.
Radium girls go to court today.
Radium girls knock at the doors of justice. Will they be heard?
These poor injured girls face pain,
disfigurement,
ruin,
and death. And as the clock ticks away the precious moments,
a hearing begins at Chancery Court,
where the U.S. Radium Corporation demands a postponement.
Plainfield's attorney Raymond Berry makes a shocking disclosure,
Showing that the company lied to the Department of Labor.
showing that they distorted the results of a Harvard study,
Concealing the ill effects of its products.
Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source of news.
Read about it in the Graphic. We care because you care.
Is it bad?
You didn't read it?
I make a point not to these days.
If only other people would do the same. Mrs. Mitchell from across the street, she walked right past me this morning. Didn't say a word to me. I know she saw me. And the women at the market, and the green grocer. The way they glanced at each other. Oh, and at the club, Mrs. Middleton and the other ladies. The waste.
Why don't you put that away? Read the journal instead. I saw
Someone at the club today actually had the nerve to say to me, "Is it true? Is it true?" she said. "Did your husband really poison all of those women?" Mrs. Cowles, I said, "If you think it's true, then why would you speak to me at all? I certainly wouldn't associate with a woman whose husband did such things."
Then why do you still go there if that's the way people are?
I've been a member for years.
What do you want me to say, Diane? We knew we were poisoning people, but we couldn't stop because we were making too much money. Is that what you want me to say?
I certainly don't want you to say such things.
Even if it were true? Or especially if it were true?
Is it true?
Is that what you think?
What would you like me to think?
Goodness, Diane, don't you see what's going on? It's Von Sataki. He's behind it all. He's jealous of our success, and he's feeding information to the Consumers League so that they can railroad us.
But why would the Consumers League want
It's a bunch of radical women, do-gooders. Half of them are Reds, probably socialists. Same thing as that club you're in.
What?
All you women think you can go around and fix the world.
I can't, I'm sorry.
While your husbands go off and make a living. You're going to quit that club.
Quit
and
the
stop
club?
talking to that idiot Mrs.
You're not
Benson.
making any
She
sense.
doesn't know anything. None of these women know anything. You don't know anything.
Did you lie to the Department of Labor?
What?
Did you lie?
I didn't lie. I didn't agree with drinkers' results.
Arthur!
I have a fiduciary duty to the company.
I can't listen to this.
Diane, I have documents. I have articles. People with tumors the size of baseballs. The radium therapy, the tumors disappear, Diane.
I'm tired. I'm going upstairs.
Diane, we save lives. We make lives better. Mild radium therapy invigorates. You have to believe me. You can't believe that I'm made out to be a liar. You can't believe that I'm made out to poison people.
No.
No, I would never do anything to hurt you or Harriet.
I know. 13 girls have died.
Diane, people die all the time. It's in the newspaper every day. Young, old, infant, children younger than Harriet die every day.
But they worked for you.
They worked other places too, Diane. I have an article from Columbia University. An expert in industrial hygiene says there's no correlation between our plant and these illnesses. Do you want me to find you that article?
Then what could the cause be?
I don't know. I don't know, Diane. We've done everything we can to find out, but no one knows. Please believe me, Diane. If you don't believe me, then all of this means nothing.
Oh,
Do you remember what you told me the day I told my father I wasn't going into the ministry?
you can do as much good in a boardroom as you can in a church.
Remember?
You think I'd forget?
was such a scared kid, and my father, he was an icon. If it wasn't for you, I would not have been able to stand up.
I'm sure you would have, Arthur.
And ever since then, my father, he's been looking for signs that my soul is lost. You don't think that my soul is lost, do you, Diane?
Arthur, you're a good man.
Save lives, Diane.
You save lives.
Diane, everything I've done has been for you. You know that, right? Everything.
I know.
Oh, please don't let that be another reporter. Don't get the door. Arthur!
Is that Mr. Lee?
Charlie, I just got off the telephone with a reporter from the Ledger.
Just couldn't wait until the morning.
I'm sorry. Good evening.
Mr. Lee?
Dr. Lee.
Dan?
He's dead. What? Portland's already done the autopsy. He says it was a severe anemia.
It's like Radium.
The Ledger's going to run it on page 1. I told the reporter we'd have a statement ready by 8 o'clock. That's when he needs it, so it can run tomorrow.
When are the services? When are they?
I don't know.
Diane, send flowers.
Yes, I'll call Louise.
Call Louise.
I should go and see her. Poor Louise, we should go and see her right now.
Would not do that.
Why ever not?
She's planning to sue Louise, the reporter from the Ledger. She's filing a wrongful death action. I worked up a statement for the Ledger. Company chemist for 8 years, always in poor health. Recently in
But Dan was never sickly. He was always sailing or on the golf course or in his garden. Arthur, he kept the most beautiful garden.
Charlie, can we please deal with this in the morning?
Of course. I'm sorry to bring you the bad news, Mrs. Reader. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Lee.
Dan, he can be a bit excessive at times. We have to say something. I don't know what, but we have to say something. The shareholders will respect it.
It's all right. You needn't explain.
Sometimes
It's all right. We're going to throw this away now.
Just case under the sink.
We'll throw that away too. I'll have no more of that in this house.
I'll get it. Diane. I've been too far to quit.
I really didn't expect you to.
February 21st, 1928. To Mr. Raymond Berry, from Harrison Martin, Medical Examiner, Essex County. We have examined the remains of the deceased Amelia Maja. Our study reveals the following. Large quantities of radioactive substances have been found in the upper jaw, the lower jaw, and the lumbar vertebrae. No evidence of syphilis was found.
Body is radioactive. Bones of dead girl take off gamma rays. Catherine Wiley with the Consumers League Department declares new evidence that shows company lied.
Dr. Joseph Neff, a Newark dentist who treated Amelia, has turned over portions of the jawbone that he removed from her mouth. This X-ray shows that the jawbone is still radioactive 5 years after the girl died.
Will this make your case? Will this force a settlement?
No, this gentleman will make our case.
Last night, in a graphic exclusive, the founder of the U.S. Radium Corporation breaks his long silence with this shocking announcement.
Radium is one of the most dangerous substances known to man.
Dr. Von Sashaki, is it true you assisted with the autopsy?
Yeah, and given my expertise in radium extraction, I was able to determine that Miss Magia absorbed enough radium to kill 10 people.
What does this say for mild radium therapy? Are you now advising against it?
Yes, radium should be known as the most dangerous substance.
Do Do you agree with the doctor's prognosis that these girls only have 1 year to live?
From what I've seen, they'll be lucky to last that long.
Hell, we should have done. We should have took that reporter up on our offer when we had the chance.
$5,000, don't make me
And we
laugh.
should have talked her up too, because, they'd have paid. Now, I'll tell you what else we should have
Stop
done.
telling me what we should have done. A lot of things we should have done. It don't do us any good to just think about them now.
All right, keep your shirt on.
Which do you like better, the red or the blue?
So, what's Barry saying? Is he going to go back to the company?
I like the red, but it don't fit so
Is he
good.
going to try and talk the company up a bit?
Miss Wiley says another interview will do the job, so I say, what's one more?
I mean, it's worth a try, don't you think? What if they came up to 5,000? Would you take it then?
Let him come up. I'm not caving in.
It's called a settlement.
Settlement? It's just a way for them to hide.
Let them hide.
Then they win.
So they win, Grace. They're gonna win anyway.
I see got so much confidence in me.
Grace, for goodness sake, you've got one lawyer working for nothing up against 6 other lawyers working the bundle. You think you have a chance?
You know what I found out today? They put lead screens in the laboratories for the technicians. Did they give us lead screens?
Grace.
What do you think? 100 girls in a room and they'd spend that kind of money on us.
Grace.
And they want to keep it all quiet. And Miss Wiley says that they're going to close down here and move across the river and open
Grace,
another factory.
What are we doing
Nothing.
here? I thought the idea was we get some money to settle our debts, get a better doctor, and we'd get on with things.
Get on with things.
You're still wearing my ring.
Tommy.
Listen, Grace, there's a house for sale in my brother's neighborhood. It's 2 rooms up, 2 rooms down. It's not much, but listen, it's a start. It's already got flowered wallpaper. You'll like it. And after all, it's only 2 blocks from the school.
What do we need for the school?
Plan ahead for once.
What do you think is going to happen after all this is done? You think everything's just going to go back to the way it was?
Why wouldn't it?
I have to go see the surgeon again.
Uh-huh.
Got some fluid. He's going to drain it.
Okay.
And then he says there will be more.
So we deal with it when it
still
comes.
More and still more. Why can't you see that? You're talking about getting married and buying houses when you know there's nothing that...
Grace, I can't think about that right now. I just want us to be together. I want to come home to you at night, to my wife, my home. I'm too old to be living this in-between life. I promise, Grace. I'll do anything to make it easy for you.
Here,
Grace, come on.
I should have given it to you a long time ago.
I don't want it.
Tommy, don't make me say it.
You get some rest, that's all. You get some sleep. I'll be back to see you tomorrow.
Tommy!
You get some rest.
Tommy! Tommy, don't do this to me, Tommy!
Arthur. Sorry, I thought you were headed home.
Charlie, I've been thinking about our decision, and I think we need to take a new approach. We need to settle with the girls. No.
Arthur, we agree. We need a definitive victory, otherwise we invite more of the same nonsense.
Things have changed, Charlie.
Arthur, I know that you and Dad were close, and you cannot let that cloud your judgment.
Chucky is going to testify.
We can deal with him.
How?
Put more money in his pocket.
Now you want to bribe him.
Not a bribe. Consideration.
Consideration.
Consideration. For an expert witness. Whatever Barry is paying him, we'll make a better offer.
You don't understand guilt, do you, Charlie?
Right now, I don't have the luxury of thinking about it.
Let me tell you something. A guilty man has a tremendous need to unburden himself. His guilt can eat him alive. Don't you see what's going on here? What Vansachoki wants is to be free. That's why he's going to testify for the girls. That's why he'll never testify for us, no matter how much consideration you offer.
You settle with these girls, and you'll have to settle with all the others. Neff was right about that. It's just the beginning.
Get in touch with Markley. Have him talk to Barry and come up with a number that the girls can agree on.
Goodness, Arthur. What are you trying to do? You're trying to wipe me out?
You have to get this off the table, Charlie.
Every penny I've put
Charlie.
by for the last 7 years, I've sunk into this company. Why? Because of you, Charlie. Because you said it was a sure thing. No miss. Want to work for Vansachoki? We can work for ourselves. Remember that one? Take a chance, Charlie. Take a chance.
Charlie, we were fooled. Vansachoki fooled us all. The only thing we can do now is to clean up as best as possible.
Do this. And it's the end.
Stepping down?
Not me.
Well,
don't you know? They're one vote away from getting rid of you.
And whose vote is that?
Arthur, you've so little faith in me.
I'll still be on the board. You won't have enough votes to get me off of the board.
And you'll still be on the hook if the company goes under. Think about that the next time your conscience starts to bother you.
March 15th, 1922, Raymond Berry, attorney at law from Edward Markley, counsel, U.S. Radio. One of our expert witnesses has encountered a serious scheduling conflict and will not be able to testify in April. Therefore, we have requested an extension until June. As for the settling of this case, every case has some sort of humanitarian aspect to it, so that cannot be the basis of settling this one. But I have no doubt you will be rewarded for the good work you are doing. If not in this world, then the next.
Madam Curie? Done for work!
Am I late? I set my alarm.
We have $5,000 to pay before breakfast. Up. It's on the wire.
Please, I'm so very tired.
No complaining. Good soldiers don't complain.
I'm dying.
And who isn't?
Get up, Grace.
Irene?
Get up, sleepyhead. You'll never make a quota like this.
It's not fair. I'm 26. I should have a house. I should be married with children.
We all have to make sacrifices sometimes.
I know I did.
Why? Why do we have to make sacrifices?
It's all for science, Grace.
Science? Family? Every life is sacrificed to do something. Just a matter of choosing which.
I didn't choose. I didn't have no choice.
Sure you did, Grace. Sure you did.
Don't do that, Catherine. Has Miss Wiley been by?
Miss Wiley?
About Catherine. She said she would come by. Did she come by?
She might have.
Don't you know?
Someone came to the door a while ago. I think your brother answered it. Look, Grace, you gotta get ready.
Catherine went back to the hospital last night.
I know, dear. I know. After you talk with Mr. Markley, we'll go over there and see how she is. Now, put a comb through your hair.
I dreamt she died.
Grace, don't speak of such things.
If she dies, it's over.
3 months behind on the mortgage, Grace.
I know that.
Can't let this go on.
$1,500. It's not even a year's wages.
It's better than nothing, ain't it?
Is that all I'm worth? Better than nothing?
Of course not, sweetheart. But we've got to be realistic. At the rate things are going now, you'll never make it inside that courtroom, and even if you do, you can't prove nothing.
Mr. Barry thinks we can.
Mr. Barry ain't paying the bills. There's the doctors and the bank and the coal man. We can't expect folks to treat us like charity just because you're sick.
I am not asking for charity, Ma. I want what's owed to me.
Grace, I know it feels like you're letting Catherine down, but if she decided to take the company's offer, would you hold it against her? No, you wouldn't. Now we'll take that check and pay the bills, and whatever's left, you and Tom can have. A little something to get you started.
There's nothing to start, Ma.
Why do you have to be so hard on Tommy?
Please.
Can't you see? He just can't face the thought of you not being with us.
I have to face it. Why can't he?
Do something with your hair, Grace.
$250,000. What would you do with $250,000, Miss Fryer? Why? I can't imagine. No point to it. Ma, you didn't tell me I got more letters. New Mexico. You just keep writing. Ma, you didn't tell me Miss Wiley came by. She left me a note. She clearly came by. Why wouldn't you tell?
Miss Fry, Edward Martin.
Ma said you brought papers.
Yes, the terms were on that term. $1,500 to you on the check. All we need is your signature.
Grace, Mr. Markley is a very busy man.
Oh, no, please, take your time. It would be better for me to leave and come back later.
No, we'll do this now.
What's hold harmless?
It would mean you hold the company harmless from any further action.
No more lawsuits?
Correct.
Is that just me or anybody in my family?
Your entire family precludes wrongful death action also.
This is a confidential settlement.
Yes.
You didn't say nothing about it being confidential.
It's standard for most legal settlements. We like to keep our privacy and your privacy also. It cuts both ways. You keep quiet about the terms of the settlement, and so do we.
That seems fair.
You need a pen?
I have another question.
Grace, Mr. Markley already explained the settlement to you, Ma.
I don't mind.
What's contributory negligence? It's not in that one. It's in the other papers you filed when we did the lawsuit. It said that the company's defense was the statute of limitations and contributory negligence.
I don't understand, miss.
It means it's our fault, don't it?
It's standard for most legal settlements. I wouldn't take it personally.
How else am I supposed to take it?
Mr. Markley, Grace has had an awful headache all day. You could
Maybe he can just answer my question.
Why are you doing this?
Why didn't you tell me about Miss Wiley?
You already made up your mind. She'd only try to talk you out of it.
What did she say about Catherine?
Mr. Markley, if you could just leave the
Ma,
papers.
what did she say about Catherine?
She said, don't look good.
Perhaps I should come back later when Miss Fryer's feeling better.
But you didn't answer my question, Mr. Markley, and I would really like an answer because, let me tell you, I quit school when I was 15. I went to work because my folks needed the money. At your factory, they told us what to do, when to do it, how to do it, and I never asked questions, and my family raised me to not make trouble, so I didn't make trouble. How do you get contributory negligence out of that?
It's a standard defense.
There is nothing standard about what happened to me.
We deeply regret your situation, but there's nothing that can tie your condition back to the U.S. Radium Corporation.
Then why are you giving me this money?
Humanitarian.
Humanitarian?
Mr. Markley, I'll take the papers and...
Humanitarian? Month after month you put us off. Delay after delay, knowing how sick we were, how tired and desperate. Humanitarian. You're waiting for us to die.
Grace, please, stop this now.
Mom, one by one I watched my friends get sick and die in the most horrible way possible. And you expect me to be grateful for any spare change they throw at me?
We think it's a very generous offer under the circumstances, and it won't be on the table for much longer.
What do you mean?
Well, Miss Fryer has 24 hours to sign the settlement, or we will be forced to revoke it permanently.
Grace, he's lying.
Pardon, miss?
You mean to tell me that if I don't sign this now, but I come back a week from now and say that I changed my mind, you'd still rather go to court and take your chances that a judge won't look at me and we'd win on sympathy alone? 24 hours. You are just trying to bully me.
We'll take that for a no. See you in court.
Yes, you will. You will see me, even if you have to carry me in there, you'll see me.
You call that man back?
I am going to court, Ma.
What are you trying to prove? You know you can't win.
I want them to look at me. I want them to look at me and tell me how it was my fault that I got sick working in their factory.
And what will that get you? What?
All my life I have done what other people told me to do. I quit school because you told me to. I put that brush in my mouth because Mrs. McNeil told me to. I never once said, please, can't I go back to school? Or, please, I really don't like the taste of this paint. I never questioned, even though I knew, Ma. I knew something was wrong. At night, I would lie in my bed and look at my dress, hanging on the back of the closet door, all aglow. My shoes on the floor, my hairbrush, my comb on the dresser. So much light, Ma. So much light. And I never asked, don't you see? They knew I wouldn't. That is what they were counting on.
Ah, Arthur, it's you making all this noise.
I left messages with your housekeeper. I know he's got my messages.
As we are no longer in business, I thought it was best not to reply.
This is what that's all about.
How about some tea to calm your nerves?
You didn't tell us that the paint was poisonous. You didn't tell anyone, not to me, not Dan.
I didn't know.
You didn't know. You invented the paint, and you didn't... How could you lie like that?
Didn't know till it was too late.
I could put you through that wall.
Maybe you should, but you will not. You will sit down, calm yourself, and have some tea.
I wasn't the technical man. You were the technical man.
Yeah, I was the technical man.
I was a salesman. I sold watches.
Very good one. Very good head for the business. Maybe not so much for the science, but for the business. Always cut the price and keep the quality. How about some tea?
Goodness, what is wrong with your hands?
It's been like that for a while now.
What happened?
Dr. Martland says it's necrosis. The cells, they're dying. With the dial painters, it was the jaw. Me, it was my hands.
I never knew.
It's not like you should. We haven't seen each other for a while now.
How long?
Known for a while now. Miss Wiley from the Consumers League came to persuade me to help Dr. Martland do radium exposure tests on the dial painters. And there's not many around, you know, who have that sort of equipment and, of course, skill. I didn't want to believe her. I didn't want to believe that my paints got these girls sick. So I decided to help Dr. Martland do expired air tests on the girls, and that's when I found out my own bread registered for the radiums. And my hands came like this. And now you want to have words with me.
I'm sorry.
Well, perhaps you should schedule an appointment with Dr. Martland.
Why is that?
Did you not notice all the glowing dust on your shoes as you walked home at night?
Of course I did. I dragged it all over my house.
Well, you can be sure most of that is now in your lungs. Look familiar?
It's our promotional piece.
Very good promotional piece. How many new sales do you think it accounted for?
Didn't track it exactly, but I like to think it helped our medical market quite a bit.
Last chapter. Page 96.
Radium. Dangerous effects.
Dangerous effects. How many articles would you say there are? 10? 15?
18 or so.
Read me the first one.
What?
The first one. What's the date?
1906.
1906. You're going to court soon, and you plan to testify that the company couldn't have known about the dangers, but when your own book says that it does, how can you say that you did not know?
I never read the book.
What's this?
I hired an outside man to put the piece together, and I just glanced at the galleys. I never read the book.
How do you mean you never read the book?
It was a standard arrangement. An outside company arranged the piece, and they're responsible for its contents.
Which you never read.
I think you'll find, Mr. Barry, that very few company presidents read their promotion word by word.
It has your name on it. You authorized the book's release, and you have approval of all the content.
Mr. Lee was in charge of promotion at the time. I entrusted those activities to him.
Now, Mr. Reader, you testified that you started at the U.S. Radium Corporation in 1918.
Yes, as a plant manager.
And you held this position for how long?
4 years.
4 years. So in those 4 years, how often did you venture into the studio?
Every day.
Every day. So you must have seen the girls point the brushes on their lips.
I don't recall.
You don't recall. So you're saying you went into the studio every day and you never saw a single girl put a brush on her lips?
I said I don't recall.
You don't recall? What you do recall, Mr. Reader, is you're an awful young man to have such a faulty memory.
Objection.
I withdraw. No more questions.
Mr. Markley, your witness?
No further questions for the witness.
All right, gentlemen, please approach. I'm ready to issue my ruling.
Your Honor, we've yet to
Mr.
present...
Markley, I realize that. But this proceeding is determined standing. Now, I've heard enough these past 2 days to make that determination.
The radium in the bones of these girls is an ongoing source of poison in their system. Nothing your witness can say will change that. Will it?
Our witnesses are prepared to testify that the company could not have known about the danger.
Mr. Markley, in the interest of justice, I'm asking that the defense rest without calling any witnesses. We conclude this hearing today, and you can schedule the case for trial.
All right, Your Honor.
All right, I therefore rule that the statute of limitations has not been exhausted, and these girls have standing to sue.
One more thing, Your Honor. I have a very busy schedule with 2 cases pending, and one of our key witnesses has encountered a scheduling conflict and will not be able to testify until the end of summer. We
Your
cannot
Honor.
appear until September. I'm sorry, Your Honor, but this chief key witness is associated with the Institute of Higher Learning, and this is the busiest time of year for him, and we cannot expect him to appear. Your Honor, you just
Mr.
have
Markley
us
is
waive all
responsible
right
for
to have our
this.
witness here.
He is the one who
Surely
made
you will not
the
have us put
delays.
forth our defense without our key witness.
Fine, Mr. Markley. The case is scheduled for September. This hearing is adjourned.
Markley, why can't Flynn appear?
He's going to Europe.
To Europe? He's known about this for months. How could he? Very clever. How long do you plan to keep this?
As long as necessary.
Mr. Markley.
Mr. Barry, congratulations. I never thought the court would take it.
You know full well these girls can't wait until September. What is so ill she can't even appear in court?
My client has the right to make his defense.
I promise you that one way or another we'll find a way, and the doctor and your expert witness will be.
This girl is still staring at me.
I wouldn't worry about it.
She's looking at me like I planned this. How do I let her know that I didn't want any of this to happen?
You don't make her understand. You don't talk to her.
Please, she looks like death.
They all look like death, Arthur.
Grace? That man, Miss Wiley, he won't look at me. He won't ever look at me. All he does is he just looks right past me like I'm not even here.
It doesn't matter, Grace. He heard you.
June 4, 1928. Nancy Jane Harlan here for the New York Graphic. Jackie Youngwood here reporting for the Ledger. Raymond Barry seeks trial date for early summer. U.S. Radium Corporation announces a settlement. A settlement? $10,000 cash for each girl and $12 a week for life. $12 a week. Read all about it in the Ledger, your first source of news.
The company also agrees to pay the medical expenses of each girl the remainder of her life. And the girls have agreed to a periodic examination by a panel of physicians yet to be appointed. Question.
What led to the settlement? Is this an admission of responsibility? What about other pending cases?
The company agreed to the settlement purely for humanitarian reasons. This is an admission of no liability whatsoever.
Where does the company go from here?
The U.S. Radium Corporation is pleased to have brought this lengthy litigation to a close, and we look forward to many more years serving our customers and this community. That's C.B. Lee, President.
Catherine Wiley of the New Jersey Consumers League. Our press statement.
Are you pleased with the outcome, Miss Wiley?
Yes, I'm relieved these girls are finally getting the compensation they deserve. However, I'm more relieved that the issue of radium poisoning has been brought to the public awareness.
Thank you, Miss Wiley.
By the way, that's Wiley with one L and Catherine with a K.
Well, Edward, looks like we're back in business.
So, what's the game plan?
Didn't I tell you? We got a buyer for all the tailings that have been piling up behind that building on Alden Street.
Oh,
Some contractor in Montclair needs a little infill.
well, that's perfect.
Now, Catherine, that won't do. We can't see your name. That's better. Well, Catherine, I brought my watercolors today. It's a beautiful day. The leaves are starting to turn. But it's still warm. Too warm for a sweater. Slight breeze. A fine day to paint.
I might find you up here.
You were right.
It's quiet up here.
Yep.
I guess if you can rest in peace, this is the place to do it, huh?
I guess it is.
What do you call those?
Watercolors. I'm pretty weak when it comes to landscapes, though.
It's good. It's good, Grace. It's nice.
First thing I bought with my settlement money, I got some watercolors and some oils.
Big spender.
And I bought a car.
I didn't know you could drive.
I can't. My brother is going to teach me. He brought me up here today.
Grace, if you want to learn how to drive, I teach you.
It's okay. You have other things to do now.
You heard about that?
Orange just isn't that big.
I meant to tell myself, Grace. That's why I came up here.
It's okay. I'm happy for you. I'm happy for both of you.
No hard feelings then.
I don't have time for that.
I'm glad it worked out for you, Grace. Are you glad how it worked out? You don't think you backed down too soon, do you?
We didn't back down. They backed down.
Papa?
It was right over here.
Not this again.
This is where I saw her the last time.
This is morbid, Papa.
She was standing here for a while, and she didn't see me at first. Then something made her look.
Oh my. No wonder Mama won't come for drives with you anymore. This is how you spend your Sundays?
She was looking at me, but I looked away.
Just like at the courthouse that day. Can't bring himself to look at me.
You need to find another hobby. Retirement isn't good for you.
My heart was pounding, Harriet. I never knew what I would say to her if I had the chance. And suddenly there she was. And I had a chance.
So, what did you say?
Couldn't get myself to speak.
It's almost like he's afraid to look at me.
I had a chance. And I couldn't say anything.
He's afraid of me.
Papa, that was years ago. It's not like it was your fault. No one knew about things like that. Then, science just wasn't as advanced the way it is now.
I think back on those days. And I try and think, how could that have happened? I remember so clearly walking up the stairs to the studio at Alton Street. The wide, high window at the top. Slant of light through the window hitting the floor. And the creak of the floor beneath my feet. The smell of the place was chalky, like an old schoolroom, and so full of girls. And they were schoolgirls, really all bent to the task in their plain green smocks. Their delicate little hands moving so fast, no man could do the work these girls did. their brushes. Moving from the dials to the paint, to the dials to their lips. Try as I might, Harriet. Try as I might. But I never saw their faces. I can't remember their faces.
All right, well, hello everyone. Thank you so much for coming out to our show. We appreciate your support, oh my goodness, we appreciate your support so much. But there are so many people that make this show happen, and we'd like to take a second to thank a fraction of them. So the first are our amazing crews. We have a wonderful sets and props crew who is helping us tonight, a makeup team, our tech crew back there, and our awesome designer, Tori. All of them make us look good up here, which is really awesome. So the next people we'd like to thank are our parent teams. They helped build the stage and helped with costumes and brought us food all week, which was much appreciated. Also like to extend a huge thank you to Mr. Brower and to the parent team who built the stage for us and these set pieces you see back here. They did an awesome job. And then we'd also like to thank our drama boosters. They are working so hard to provide monetary support for our drama department, and their hard work and your contributions help us to maintain things like these curtains that you see around the stage. And if you're interested in helping out with that, there'll be a table outside in the back for you to stop by. Lastly, the crew and I would like to thank Hayden and Jewett. They're hanging out back there somewhere. backstage, so we'll hand those off to you at some point. And we can't thank you both enough for your unwavering support, your silly shenanigans, and your passion for what you do, because we both know that you guys do not do it for the money. So thank you both for putting up with all of us and helping us to feel better when we're down, and we love you both so much. And that's a wrap, everyone. Thank you for coming. Make sure to be on the lookout for more information about our winter musical, which is Fiddler on the Roof. And make sure to stop by the Drama Boosters table outside. Have a great night. Thank you.